Hello and welcome to Pixels and Points. I'm Susie Brown, media planner buyer here at Redroc, and with me, as always, we have Matt Nelsen.
Yes, it does look like I have a name popping up. But anyway, I'm Matt Nelsen. I'm the digital media director here at Redroc. And what do we got today, Susie?
So today we are talking about how marketers are conquering the tsunami of supply from live events. So basically, the article today talks about more and more live sports opportunities are moving to streaming, which is good news for programmatic buyers. So basically, they were saying they had some stats from January to June of 2024. 50%, this was surprising to me, of all US ads viewed were live events. So sports, other live events. Pretty interesting, but that's always where the most engaged audience, right, is going to be.
I
So
hope.
another thing they talked about was NBC, Universal, and Disney with ESPN are leading the charge here, and it was all about Summer Olympics for NBC Universal. So basically, the biggest issues we're running into is when everybody's bidding on all these live events, it's a million bids all come in right at the same time. So they've got to improve the infrastructure. One of the things that NBC and Disney are doing is pre approved creative. So basically, making sure everything's all ready to go. So when you have that live opportunity, you're right there, everything's approved, one less glitch or hiccup, right?
Yeah, it's their whole way of having advertisers come directly to them instead of going through a different DSP like DV360 or Trade Desk or anything else. It's so that they can cut down on any kind of miscommunications, bidding wars, and not being able to serve
Mm-hmm.
the ad. And yeah, it's trying to make it a little easier on their side to get the ads when somebody wins a bid for the ad to actually run in the right place at the right time to the right person. So,
Yep.
um, yeah,
Always helps to go direct to the source, right? If you can go right on their platform. One of the things Disney was talking about doing was also expanding their inventory for real time bidding. So if it is a great game, and it's right down to the fourth quarter, you can get right in real time. Everything's all approved, ready to go.
yeah. I think
That's really kind of the
I saw
dream.
on there that they've moved from guaranteed inventory to all like mostly biddable now. So most of their inventory is going out
Mhm.
to bid, where before they would just sell millions of dollars to say Coke or a car to a car company, and you'd see a lot of that car company because they were buying all the inventory. That
Mhm.
used to be 70%, and the ratios have just flipped. A lot of and these companies are getting better deals by not doing buying ahead of time millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of impressions, and instead
Mhm.
biddable inventory and being able to do a little bit more targeting, and it's just a better way of doing it. But
Yep. And as a buyer, you just have to be more nimble, quicker, capitalize on those live opportunities, which it's a win-win for everybody, right? If you stay informed, know what's happening, and can jump right on it.
it's just that they're all having stress about the growing marketplace of inventory because they're putting more and more stuff on streaming, and simultaneously streaming it as well as broadcast.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are streaming it, and there's just millions more people watching streaming content from these suppliers, and so them just this the
Yeah, I
circle
think
mode is too much for some of them, and so they're doing these workarounds, trying to push people from one thing to another. But it's still a growing area where a lot of these developers are having issues.
I think Olympics were a really good example of having so much inventory content. I think they had 300 events per day, 3,200 events total streaming on Peacock. And I know for our clients, we bought packages, but ours was the guaranteed. We bought our impressions up front, right? We weren't watching, oh, US is going to win the gold in this. We've got to get in there, which, like I said, better strategy when that opens up. But
Yeah,
this was the first time programmatic buying was available for the Olympic Games. And one of the stats they had, they saw a 90% increase in first time advertisers in the Olympics. So it does open up opportunity for so many brands that weren't able, not the Coca-Colas of the world, right, to be able to get a little piece of that pie.
yeah, yeah. And it's the from a buying standpoint, from like our client standpoint. you have to worry about when you're placing some of this stuff, like you get charged for an impression, but did your ad actually run? That kind of a thing. And
Hmm.
buyers need to make sure they do is like start instituting impression trackers so that you can double check, your sold impressions versus what actually ran, because the impression will only run if the video runs. So it's a
Yep.
double check on some of these if you do feel like you're not getting the actual view completions that it's telling you you're getting. So you just need to get the set that up from our point of view. But one of the things I thought was interesting, I didn't realize that NBC and Peacock had bought the rights for all of the Olympics through 2036. So like for the next
Hmm.
that that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is their cash cow for sure. Well, and the other thing they bought was NBA. So they're going to have NBA playoffs finals streaming NBC Universal on Peacock. And I think it was a $76 billion rights deal. So they have the money to spend. They're going to make a lot more back. So they're ahead of the trends for sure. I think that's why they're saying industry leaders. It's going to be Disney and NBC
hmm
for all the live sports.
Do you think on all the streaming that they're actually going to keep where certain clients can buy specific spots in specific areas going forward, like where it's I want to be in the spot right after the end of the first quarter or something like that, or things like that?
Yeah, I think you're just going to have to be savvy, right? At first. I don't know if they'll ever have that guaranteed first placement or right before tip off kind of thing.
hmm
If they do, it's a question of right having it all serve at the exact same time across all those platforms. That's another infrastructure problem we're going to have to tackle. But I
Yeah,
think knowing, being able to bid in real time is what's going to be the advantage.
because that's the thing. I know a lot of clients wanted to be able to make sure that they were in specific areas, and
Hmm.
you don't buy that up front or buy that through a direct
Direct. Yep.
relationship. Buying it through a service, you have no control.
Hmm.
You don't know if
You
you're
pay a premium for it, but yet,
ads.
like you're saying, at the end of the day, you don't know when it run, and you
So
don't get a log time, right, to prove when it ran.
no, it's just, I mean, well, you can see when your ad ran, but it's going to be running to individuals, all during the game. And, some people may never see your ad that watch the game. So it's just one of those things where personal relationships
Hmm.
with reps at these station groups and with the national brands is still going to be vital to buying going forward. You can't just do everything on digital yet.
Yep. And going back to those in content, right, sponsorships, wanting to get inside that programs and outside of the advertising block is the best way we're going to be able to get every single viewer to see one message at the same time and have the most impact
Yep.
as far as streaming sports.
Yep. Well, I think
Nice.
that,
Well, we'll have to see how all the playoffs do for NBA when everything starts going. I'm sure NBC will be pretty happy.
yes.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back next week with another topic and some more pixels and points. See you guys.